Nike versus Adidas, a timeless battle between two giants. The debate over which brand is the best and the biggest between Nike and Adidas, just like Messi and Ronaldo, is a popular trend in every household, especially among youths who are lovers of sneakers and sports. This last World Cup in Qatar gave ground to the two brands to maintain their dominance by sponsoring most of the teams participating in the biggest football competition. Adidas and Nike have changed the story of the global sportswear market, which is now worth $300 billion. Thanks to one of the biggest sports competitions, the World Cup, which is held every 4 years. This is always the period to show superiority between the two brands because the whole world is watching. The 2022 World Cup in Qatar gave us several memories to always remember, from the opening game to the final game between France and Argentina. But which brand claimed the glory of sportswear? You're about to find out the winner of the sportswear brand in the 2022 World Cup, but make sure you subscribe to our channel to get more football stories at your fingertips. Even though this competition has been in existence for a long time, Nike was completely out of the picture when Adidas took the soccer stage by storm in 1954, a moment we can call a miracle of Ben. The founder, Adi Dassler, had a great desire to improve the design of his football boot, and this led him to work with the West German national football team. The Adidas boots worn by West Germany were very light in weight compared to the English-produced boots worn by their opponent, Hungary. Essentially, the boots had removable screw-in studs that could be replaced to befit the weather conditions. On a muddy and wet pitch, these boots propelled the German team to victory. Being a major football tournament, it was widely seen around the globe, and this made West Germany a popular country on the football map and made Adidas boots noteworthy around the world. Adidas didn't stop the hard work. They never stopped working. In 1963, they made their balls, known as Telstar, which served as FIFA's official match ball for the World Cup in 1970. This would bring about a long-term relationship with FIFA, and Adidas produces the match ball for every World Cup from time to time. At this period, Nike was not recognized in the football map until the '94 World Cup, which took place in the US. Phil Knight, a co-founder of Nike, was in attendance at the Rose Bowl Stadium. He witnessed how the title was won by the Brazilian national team in front of a very large crowd. It was at this moment Phil realized Nike could thrive in football too, and not just running, basketball, and tennis. He came up with a plan. He let his employees know that to truly understand football, they have to see the game through the eyes of the Brazilian, and that was the idea they worked on. In 1996, Nike and the Brazilian Federation signed a 10-year contract which was worth $200 billion in New York. That same year, the U.S. women's team won the first gold ever in women's football while wearing Nike kits. To crown it all, in preparation for the 1998 World Cup, Nike worked with the Brazil national team for their major and famous commercial, which was shot in the Rio de Janeiro airport. With the achievement of these ideas, Brazil could brag about influencing the football culture. Nike's football sales grew from $40 million in 1994 to more than $2 billion in 2018, the year one of their sponsor teams won the World Cup. So who dominated between the two giants in the 2023 World Cup? To set business in motion, every brand put these into consideration: the number of teams wearing their kits, the number of players wearing their boots, and the number of goals they are scoring. Let us talk about the kits first. Kits licensing deals are very important to every sportswear brand. Every country has a massive football fan base, and the success of any sponsored team will determine the sale of kits. When the FIFA World Cup was played in Qatar this year, 13 of the 32 participating countries were represented by Nike. This would be the most by any sportswear sponsor for the biggest football tournament. On the other hand, Adidas was only able to outfit 7 countries participating in this year's World Cup. This would be the time Nike would be beating Adidas, and also it would be the biggest gap Nike has ever retained over its well-known rival. Even though 9 different sportswear companies sponsored this year's World Cup jerseys, 81% wore the 3 main brands: Nike, Adidas, and Puma. National teams sponsored by Nike included the host nation Qatar and the United States. Nike also played smart by sponsoring the dominant teams in the history of the World Cup: Brazil, France, and England. Nike also sponsors top-ranked teams. 7 nations it equips are among the top 20, but it is also tied to lower-ranked teams like Qatar and Saudi Arabia, who both rank among the worst teams competing this year. But the brand was also tied to teams with very low ranks, just like Qatar and Saudi Arabia. The 2 participating countries currently hold the tail of the FIFA ranking table. But Adidas also played smart this year. They believe it's not about quantity, but quality, according to Adidas spokesman Stefan Persch. Adidas sponsored 4 teams that were among the title of the top favorite: Spain, Germany, Argentina, and Belgium. Apart from these big 2, a brand that pulled a surprise was Puma, which sponsored Morocco, a team that has become popular and has earned support from large parts of the African and Arab world. It's a great deal to sell and promote your jerseys, but more money lies with shoes. Players are free to pick what shoes to put on no matter the team's sportswear sponsor. So it means Nike and Adidas sign separate deals with players. This side of the business is becoming an essential aspect in today's economy of superstars. Players like Messi and Ronaldo have remarkable followers on social media and commercial strength that beat many teams and federations. As with shirts, Nike again claims the largest share. More than half of the players in Qatar wore Nike shoes, followed by Adidas. While Nike still dominates the lead, 4 years ago, Nike was dominant with over 60%, but has since dropped several players because, as earlier mentioned, it's not about quality. Despite this, Nike still wins because most goals were scored with Nike boots. Again, the finalists in the World Cup indicate a more balanced picture: Nike versus classic Adidas rivalry renewed. But before we name our winner, let us take a look at some other brands that pulled some strings. First is New Balance. This brand only has a total of 10 players representing them, but they were wise enough to pick the right ones who scored many goals for the big teams. The second is Louis Vuitton. Even though they didn't shine on the pitch, Louis Vuitton nearly won the World Cup before its commencement. There was a picture of the 2 most popular players on the planet right now, Messi and Ronaldo, playing chess. This picture made the internet go crazy as it became the second most liked post on Instagram. But the final winner on the pitch will go to Nike. In 1990, the brand didn't have a single team to sponsor in the World Cup. Fast forward to 2022, nearly a decade later, Nike has worked hard to become a big brand in football. However, Nike's victory was truncated by Argentina, all thanks to Messi and his soldiers who saved Adidas from killing Mbappe and his France teammates. Messi and Mbappe, both teammates at PSG, were the stars of their teams. With a brace for Messi and a hat-trick for Mbappe, it was indeed a real battle of will, and Argentina just slipped past to claim the trophy. Yes, it was almost a total victory for Nike as Kylian Mbappe tormented Argentina's defense with numerous threats. It seems Messi has been destined to complete the piece of the puzzle which has been missing for some time. Now that the 2 brands have enjoyed an ample share of the goodies that came from the World Cup in Qatar, the 2 brand managers will now focus on the future, especially the 2026 FIFA World Cup, which will come with new heroes. The battle between the 2 giant brands continues with a lot to expect in the coming years. Even though Nike is claiming the glory, Adidas will not rest for sure. They will try as much as possible to pull a surprise comeback. But will Nike be ready for this? Let's wait and see.